Hello guys, so home from work, and I did say we would do another video on this Isak situation once I got a chance to sit down and read the articles. So I've gone through a few of them. We've got the one from the Northeast. Well, he's like the Northeast correspondent, I think, for the Daily Mail and the Athletic as well. And I've also pulled up another one regarding who Newcastle could replace Isak with, because obviously, if they're looking at replacements, then they are obviously inching ever closer to the fact and the realization that they are going to lose the player this summer. So if you like this video, guys, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. We've just literally today hit 3K, so a massive thank you to everyone that's subscribed. So if you do like this content, guys, obviously make sure you do join the community that we've got blossoming over here, and leave a comment down below as well, guys. So these are the type of videos I do where I break stuff down, go through articles and give my opinion. So could be a long video, guys. Right. I want to start first and foremost, I guess, with the premise of what's happened here, because the article from the Northeast is a little bit deeper into what is actually going on. So let's just touch it from the top right now. So this is the Athletic from David Ornstein, and it says that Alexander Isak wants to leave Newcastle and asked not to go on the pre-season tour. This has not been confirmed by the club, though, is what Ornstein says regarding him not wanting to go. The club has insisted that Isak was left behind because of a minor thigh problem, but sources speaking anonymously, as they were not authorised to do so publicly, indicate the forward favoured being left behind, basically. Liverpool have previously communicated their interest in Isak over doing a deal in the region of 120 million, and Newcastle's stance has consistently been that the player is not for sale. Moving on now to Chris, who also works at the Athletic, and he's the Newcastle correspondent, but this is the same article. He says that this has felt the direction of travel for a while, especially after the Celtic game omission. Yet, if Isak is keen to explore opportunities away from Newcastle, then this really will strike a hammer blow to them. Newcastle have been resolute from the board down to Eddie Howe that he is not for sale, and that position remains, though it was always dependent on the player accepting that stance. Should the player really agitate to go, and there is a willing buyer able to cough up an eye-watering sum, then how absolute Newcastle's resolve will finally be tested. Regardless of whether Isak stays now, Howe will have a job getting the Swede in the right headspace, and that risks affecting the start of Newcastle's season. This has been a second successive season of upheaval at St James's Park, and one the club really could not afford to have. This is not looking good. Do you know what I mean? From their perspective, and, as Liverpool players, we can kind of sympathise a little bit. We've been down this route ourselves. The most famous recent one is Coutinho, who had the mysterious back issue and sat out loads of games. And then as soon as he went to Barcelona, the back issue evaporated, There's been numerous tweets today regarding this scan that Isak apparently has had, and it's popped up that there's nothing wrong with his thigh. Nothing popped up on the scan, so I don't know, guys. I want to show you this tweet as well before we dive into the other one. So this is a tweet from Fabrizio Romano. And he basically says that Chelsea are not actively working on Alexander Isak, and no interest is proceeding. The club working on the deal is and remains Liverpool. So he is adamant that Liverpool are working on a deal to sign the player. Let's just see if there's another one. I'm pretty sure there was one more tweet that came out from Romano today regarding this whole scenario, shall we say. There we go. It was 5 hours ago. That's why it took me a while to find this one, guys. So got this one. He understands that Isak remains a target for Liverpool even after signing Ekitike, but depends on Newcastle. If Newcastle opens the door and Liverpool sell Diaz, they can bid after direct contact was made 10 days ago. He was not in any talks with Al Hilal, basically, as well. Guys, this is lining up that Liverpool are going to sign him. I'm just going to say it now. So I'll have a look into this one again. So this is the Daily Mail, and this is by Craig Hope. Now, I'm just going to go into this because it goes back into last year. What could be behind Isak wanting some sort of move? So I've only highlighted certain bits. So if it doesn't sound right as I'm reading it, it's because I've missed out a little bit. But it's not like I've missed out context or anything. So this bit here is obviously about Paul Mitchell, who's come in as the sporting director, and he says that Mitchell, not without reason, given the club's profit and sustainability peril, took the view that Isak had 4 years to run in his contract and was already among the club top earners. The player was told that the salary he wanted and expected would not be forthcoming. An accountancy decision, yes, but one that failed to account for the human reaction at the other end. The player was said to be furious, and when Eddie Howe spoke last season of an unsettled dressing room coming out of the summer, this was no doubt one of the grievances within. So this is going back to last year, guys. Then there's some quotes here. We need to make sure we're delivering our part as a football club for them. This is Eddie Howe. He said this in October of last year. But also the player has to perform to that level. If he's saying he has huge ambitions, he has to be actually doing the business on the pitch. It's a two-way thing. The challenge is always thrown back. As a player, you can sit down and say, I want to play European football, but you then have to play at that level as well. It says here that Isak's misgivings were not confined to his bank account and the belief that with some justification, he was being paid well below market value. He, like others, wanted to see the club and its Saudi owners show more ambition, not just talking about it in the Amazon documentary. But because of Howe's management, his brilliant staff and a strong dressing room, bloody hell, you can tell these are he reports very much up there, don't you? Rich in talent and leadership, they were able to shelve those concerns and concentrate on football. A first domestic trophy in 70 years, and there is, with hindsight, a degree of irony about Isak being on the score sheet in the 2-1 win over Liverpool in the Carabao Cup final. So here we arrive, with Newcastle in Singapore without the player. The reason given is that he has a slight injury on his thigh, and medical staff cannot say otherwise, even if scans appear to show no serious damage. We can reveal that he trained on Monday but left the pitch after a few minutes and returned to the main building. He has not trained since. The thigh complaint was the first flagged last Saturday, and Howe allowed him to return home rather than sitting in the stands amid all the speculation. We know this. After the head coach said he hoped and believed Isak would be a Newcastle player come the new season, but for those with knowledge of the situation, it was the following quote that felt the most telling. All I can say is that Alex is happy at Newcastle. He loves the players, the staff, the team. Now, all of that can still be true. He has nothing but respect and admiration for those with whom he works with on a daily basis. But the club beyond the training ground, you wouldn't be so sure. There remains a chance that Liverpool do not make sales to raise the funds to finance a deal of around 150 mil. So basically what they're saying is they believe that Liverpool need to sell Diaz, Nunes, Elliott, whoever else, Chiesa, to raise this money. And Isak could well enhance his terms to stay at Newcastle for one more season. But a player's career is fleeting. It's understandable that he wants to accelerate his journey with his 26th birthday in September. Him telling the club of his wishes is not a bargaining chip for more money. He doesn't want to play the Champions League. He wants to win it. You have to say that is not an unwarranted ambition. So now what happens? He's not a bad character. The author has learnt as much spending a few days in the Stockholm before the Carabao Cup final. Blah, de blah, de blah. His former coaches and teammates speak highly of him. Blah, blah, blah. Next bit. At the same time, however, he will know that the strength of Newcastle's hand, given the 3 years to run in his contract, will mean he has to agitate to a certain extent for the move. He has been advised by his agent, who is less afraid to make apple carts weep. So, again, something we've been saying on this channel for a while. Isak would have to make it known he wants this move, which he's done today. Liverpool are ready in a formal approach. Once that happens, Newcastle will have to make a decision. Reject and risk having an unhappy player for the season and beyond. Or accept the player's wishes, move on, bank a PSR busting British record transfer fee. Both are not without great danger. It's interesting though that sources say Newcastle are making discreet enquiries about a big frontman, and one player they've been watching for a long time is Benjamin Sesko. And we understand that contact has been made, while a £35 million deal for Brentford's forward Risa is expected to progress over the weekend. As for Isak, he's now back at home nursing his injury officially. If he's still missing by the time that Newcastle kick off the season at Aston Villa in 3 weeks, it will have nothing to do with his thigh. So it's quite interesting that reports up in the northeast are also backing the claim that he's had this thigh injury, but there's nothing showing on the scan, and they're starting to believe now that the player is agitating for this move. And then just to finish off with the stuff regarding this, Ornstein within the last hour has put out an article saying that Newcastle are exploring a move for Benjamin Sesko in the event that Isak does leave the club. Now, why would they be looking for someone else to come in if they were absolutely adamant that he was going nowhere? Guys, I absolutely believe that he's pushing for this move. I believe it 110% believe that Isak is pushing for this move. Something else has literally just come out now, just been sent it now from Ben Jacobs. Let's have a look at this right now, right quick. So Ben Jacobs has put out this lengthy tweet saying that Isak is open to a move to Liverpool and would welcome a bid. However, suggestions he has already agreed terms with Liverpool as of now are wide of the mark. Liverpool made contact on the player side and being clear to Newcastle prior to Ekitike's arrival that they are prepared to pay a British transfer record. Liverpool have PSR headroom and could afford Isak at the right price. The potential sale of Diaz and the anticipated departure of Núñez could generate significant funds. A fresh Liverpool approach is anticipated, although Newcastle still want him to sign a new deal. Challenge is the 300k per week wage that he's looking for is too high, and Isak has not shown a willingness to engage yet. It's believed he would have signed the new contract last year, but one was not offered, which we've just covered, and Newcastle are already exploring alternatives in the case of his departure, which we've just covered as well. So it does feel like it's coming more and more likely that this could happen, guys. And as I mentioned this morning, this would be the best transfer window in English history. Like, Wirtz, the crown jewel of German football, Bundesliga player for the past 2 years. Jeremy Frimpong, Milos Kerkez, Mamadashvili, one of the up-and-coming young goalkeepers in world football. Ekitike, someone who many believe is an upcoming striker. Alexander Isak, one of, if not the best striker in the Premier League, bar Erling Haaland. Incredible, incredible, guys, if this all happens. With a centre-back as well to come in also. So, I don't know, guys. Let's see what happens, shall we? I'm quite optimistic that this will happen now. Quite optimistic. But let's wait and see what happens. Yeah, let me know in the comments, guys. What do you think of this? I know it's a long video. If you've made it to the end, make sure you leave me a like as well and a comment, basically to tell me that you made it all this way. Let me know down below, guys. And I will catch y'all in the next one. Thanks for watching, guys.